Alright, what's up everybody? We're gonna go ahead and get started here in just a moment. But as always, you can hear us, and if we're streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and give us a thumbs up in the chat and we'll get started here momentarily. Hope everybody had a good day off today for Juneteenth. Alright everybody, I think we can go ahead and get started now. Well, good evening and welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. Today is Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Today was a holiday. The stock market was closed. Just a bank holiday and a federal holiday. I think the post offices were closed as well. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. Trust all of you had a pleasant day off, if that was the case, if you had off today. So the markets were closed, so we're pretty much just going to walk around today, hang out. I put a poll in the chat. I'm going to try to test this out. So go ahead and vote in the chat where you want us to go tonight. I think I put the World Trade Center or Wall Street, or we could head towards the Lower East Side. Currently broadcasting from Central Park South and 5th Avenue. Now tomorrow the market is open and it's going to be a pretty big day for economic data, which we'll discuss tomorrow. So Thursday, June 20th, right as the market opens at 8:30, we're going to get initial jobless claims. Then at 8:30 again, we're going to get housing starts, building permits, and the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey will be out as well. So it's going to be a pretty action-packed day tomorrow with jobless claims. Also housing starts, building permits. So on tomorrow's broadcast, we'll be breaking all of that down and more, and talking about some major earnings in the housing sector. Now, as we look forward to Friday, we're gonna get the existing home sales number out. As we reviewed at the very beginning of the week, it's gonna be a very busy and heavy week as it relates to the housing sector, particularly residential real estate. So it's going to be interesting to see existing home sales. I think it's going to come in light again for reasons which we've discussed. So let me go ahead and close up the laptop, everybody. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll go ahead and get this stream started. Thank you so much for joining, and once again, happy Juneteenth. Hopefully you all had a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks so much. Everybody, let's see what we got. I see John Sunderland. Hey John. Michelle GGNYC. Lena Sandoval, Mimi is here. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I mean, thank God it's bright out, right? It's crazy. It's almost 9 o'clock at night and it's still bright out. What a blessing that is. Thank God it's summer. Mary is here. What's up? Dock 7, Central Park South. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Thob, what's going on? Walking commuter. Trust you're well. Hopefully you had a good day today. And I forgot to check the poll, but I think, what are we at with the poll in the chat? Is it looking like World Trade Center tonight, or is it looking like Lower East Side? What are we looking at? What do we got? I'll try to check on my other phone. But this is a pretty cool view looking all the way over to the west side of Manhattan. You see the Deutsche Bank towers in the distance. Central Park is looking great. Let me see if my chat is messed up again. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty yesterday. Let me see if we're going to experience the same thing today. Let's see. I think we might. Could someone type something in the chat to see if it's working? Let me see. That's a bummer. I don't know what's going on with this. Give me 1 second. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to read the chat again. Alright, give me 2 seconds while I try to troubleshoot this. We'll start to head down, but we'll do the best we can. It doesn't look like the chat is going to be working tonight, so I'll try to read it on my other phone, but my other phone's going to run out of battery here in a minute. So let's go ahead and cross Fifth Avenue over to the east side. And then we will head down Fifth Avenue. Look at these guys' cars. Pretty nice. What else we got? Hey, DJ reviewing under 2. What's going on? RCE, welcome. Esteban. Doc 7. Peters says, do I think it's Prism or YouTube? I think it may be, it's probably the streaming software, Prism, most likely. It usually works itself out within the next few days. We'll see. I'll try to do some troubleshooting tonight. But we're getting a heat wave in New York City. Supposed to be in the upper 90s, and with the heat index it could potentially feel triple digits, over 100 degrees. You have the Plaza Hotel, beautiful Steinway Tower in the back. RB is here. Nick, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. It wasn't that windy all day today, but the wind just started to pick up right as we started the broadcast. So apologies in advance for any wind noise. This is 432 Park. But it looks like we'll head down to Wall Street and the World Trade Center tonight. Central Park Tower, 157, and Steinway all in a row here. Since we're going to be going down to Lower Manhattan, we'll check out the World Trade Center, we'll check out Wall Street, but I also want to check out Stone Street. I don't think I brought you guys down to Stone Street in quite some time. It's a really fun place. It'll probably be packed tonight since everybody is off for the Juneteenth holiday. It's a really fun part of the city, particularly in the summer. Stone Street, Hanover Square. And if we have enough time, maybe we'll loop around to the Seaport. This is 57th Street and 5th Avenue. This building right here is the Amman, New York. Nice luxury hotel, and they're also building one in Miami, in Mid-Beach. GGNYC, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining. Now, I think the former president, Trump, may be coming back to Manhattan sometime soon, because you'll start to see a little bit more police presence as we head down. I was in the office today for a little bit, and it looks like they're getting ready to re-put up all the barricades. You can see them right here. So when is the sentencing for Trump? I think it may be next week, right? That's probably why he's back. And it looks like the NYPD is getting ready. Now, Trump Tower is open to the public from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can kind of see people walking in and out now, but they've closed the back portion. GGNYC says July 11th. copy that. Let's see if they still have that big American flag all the way in the back. They do keep it quite clean all the time, pretty much. And they keep the air conditioning cranked. Let's head on down. Banks is some very beautiful apartments at 725 Fifth. 725 or 721? Because Trump Tower is 721 Fifth Avenue. That's where the address for the condominiums are. So there's two different entrances. The Fifth Avenue entrance is like the public common area. 721 is where you would enter if you either rent or own a condo there. And I think I agree. The only thing though is a lot of those apartments, I'll kind of stand back so you can just see the height of the building. They're old, you know, they're dated. If you go to streeteasy.com, type in 721 Fifth Avenue? Trump Tower. You'll notice a lot of the units are very dated, like pink bathrooms and all that stuff. Mary says, thank you for taking us inside. For sure, anytime. Yeah, I really wish I could take you into more buildings. I really do wish I could do that. But many of them are not open to the public. Like the lobby of Trump Tower is open to the public. So you could go in there, you could film, you could really do whatever you want. Most everything else, especially after 9/11, it's very, very tight security and they don't allow any filming at all in the lobbies of these buildings. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. When I got my first sales job, you know, coming right out of college, there were a lot of the older sales representatives that would tell me that the best territory to have was Manhattan, because you could just pick one city block and walk in to an office building, click any floor on the elevator, and essentially just go door knocking business to business to business in all these big high-rise buildings. But after 9/11, you know, there's a security turnstile pretty much in every big building in Manhattan. You can't just walk in anywhere anymore, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I definitely do understand, for sure. This is the University Club, another beautiful building on 5th Avenue. Peter says, isn't it possible to renovate those apartments in Trump Tower if you buy one? For sure. But there's a lot of competition on the market, right? Would you rather buy, you know, an outdated condo in Trump Tower with high common charges and then have to probably put, you know, $1 million, you know, 100,000 or what into the building to renovate it? Or do you want to just buy a new development with similar views? Like, if you look at some of the listings, which when we talked about this the other night, you can get a 1-bedroom apartment with pretty decent views of Central Park for like 1.5, and those will probably trade at 1.3 or 1.2 with beautiful views of Central Park, but it's just very, very dated. And I think 1970s, 1980s style, I don't think that's ever going to come back, to be honest. There's another good shot at the University Club. And just off to our right is St. Thomas Church. Thobbs says, Tom, what's happening with the former D Element twins? What is that? D Element twins. I'm not sure what that is. Hey, Dario's here. Hey there, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Matt says, I've always heard it's hard to renovate in New York City. Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not. I think it just depends case by case. If you're talking about like a structural thing or like the facade of a building, a lot of the facades in on some of the older buildings are historically protected, so you can't make any alterations to the facade. But generally speaking, you just get a contractor, and you know, they price it out for you. It's just very expensive. I mean, I see some of the bills that these contractors and architects charge, and it's expensive. Things can get pretty expensive, but New York City is pretty expensive in and of itself. But I guess in any event, it really just depends on the kind of work you're doing. If it's cosmetic, really no big deal. But most everything in New York, you got to get a permit for, which is really laborious, and it's kind of a pain, which I understand. You know, you don't want any shoddy work being done, but some of the time it could be really, really tedious to get these permits approved, and it takes time, and time is money. So I get it, for sure. All right, we're coming up on St. Patrick's here. I think Thob is referring to Douglas Elliman. Yeah, that's the broker I work for. The Kirsten Jordan team at Douglas Elliman. Elliman's like a broker. Yeah, I like it. Doc Seven says probably means the Alexander twins. They don't work for Douglas Elliman. Hold on one second. Sorry, it's hard to read these comments with my other phone. I have the other phone up now. But I don't know. I work for Kirsten Jordan. I don't know about that. Chris A says, what are my views on squatters? I think they're scum. to put it blunt. I think squatters are scum. What's your take on squatters? I really do believe that the city should be doing more. Now, this all factors into the decision of where you buy real estate. Because yes, it's true that some states, some municipalities have rules and regulations and laws that favor the tenant, and others that have rules, regulations, and laws that favor the landlord, right? Just really depends. But the big problem, and I think there's also a little misconception in New York, many people think that, you know, if you get a squatter in New York City, you're never gonna get him out. That's not true. The problem is the court system is so backed up, and you have to go through the standard systematic process for getting them out. And I know that can be frustrating and it's ridiculous, and there's no way to expedite it. So it's true, it's not like you can't evict in New York City, right? You can evict just like anywhere else, but it takes so long because the courts are so backed up. You know, let's say if I had a squatter in my place in Miami, Florida, it would be very, very easy to get them out. Very, very easy. If you're going to make a comparison to, let's say if I had a squatter at a place in New York City, it'd be difficult. So, but that's another prediction I have. I think that's all going to change. The craziness with, you know, those squatter stories, the local government here is really getting pressed. The governor, Kathy Hochul, is really getting pressed on that. So I believe, anyway, that they're going to make some much needed changes to those laws and expedite these processes. In addition to that, I just think the overall, if you want to just talk about crime in general in New York, the big problem is, and we've spoken about this before, is really the DAs, right? The district attorneys. I think you're going to see a lot of changes. I think you're going to see this cashless bail go away. You know, even Mayor Eric Adams himself is like, you know, that's one of the biggest problems plaguing New York, because the police officers, they can arrest somebody, but then, you know, they're out in, you know, 24 to 48 hours, right back on the street committing these crimes. So I think a lot of that stuff is going to go away. There's just been too much pressure from the public now on these local and state politicians that things are really going to change, which is good news. Which is good news. You're already starting to see it slowly but surely change. Robert Ace, Tom, no way. It would not have to come to this either. Hochul. Robert Ace is nonsense. It's a New York City problem. Grow up. TB says don't go to Times Square. We won't go to Times Square. I just wanted to make one little lap around Rockefeller Center here, 30 Rock. Let's see what we got going on here. I really wish they would have put the roller skating rink up this year. I mean, it looks nice down there. There's a bunch of seating area. There's outdoor dining, but I think last year looked really cool with the roller skating. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah, Troy Atman says, Tom, did you see it was snowing in Montana? Crazy. I saw that on Twitter. There was a football practice, or like a football camp being done in the snow. See, I couldn't live in those parts of the country. Man, snowing in June, I don't know if I could do that. It's a little bit too wild for me. I feel like much of the country has been getting crazy weather lately. I mean, you had that unbelievable flooding in South Florida, all throughout Miami-Dade, in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, the flooding was unreal. We had, I think, over 36 inches of rain fell within 48 hours. Insane. Robert A says, I love living in Manhattan, I had to leave. I mean, it's cyclical. It's a problem, but I'm confident that it'll get rectified. Because you're also getting pressure from a lot of these big corporations too. Because some big firms have invested a lot of money in New York to build essential global headquarters here. You know, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, 270 Park, that's $1 billion project. Then you're gonna have Citadel Securities, 350 Park Avenue. You know, if you don't think there's some quid pro quo there, I mean, come on, I think we need to read between the lines. Now, last year they also used to have this big water fountain here. Who remembers that? There was this water fountain / exhibit right here at Rockefeller Center. This is where they filmed the Today Show. Did any of your properties get damaged in the flooding? No, it never floods where I am. And I think I mentioned this before. If you're looking to buy something in Miami, particularly a single family home, duplex or triplex, before anything, before you even look at any properties, just go to the FEMA flood maps. So if you're in Miami-Dade, go to the county website and download a PDF copy of the flood maps, and it'll tell you the neighborhoods that flood. And the money is, you want to look for flood zone X. If you buy something in flood zone X, it's bone dry. And you can even, this is what I did. That's what I did. I looked at the county flood maps. I looked at the town flood maps, like North Miami Beach, Surfside, all that. And then if you see a property that you like, go knock on the doors, knock on the neighbors' doors. Chances are, there's people who've been living there for 50 years, 60 years, who've seen every single hurricane that's come through South Florida, and ask them, hey, does it flood here? You know, what are the specific blocks of the neighborhoods or the streets that do flood? And they'll tell you. I mean, that's what I did, and I've never had an issue. Thank God. So that's kind of just a little tip. If you like Miami, you know, there's pros and cons of living everywhere. And you should do the same thing in New York too. If you're buying like in Red Hook, Brooklyn, anywhere close to the water, Lower Manhattan, if you ever have another Sandy, it's gonna flood. You're gonna get some flooding. So go to the county and download a copy of the flood maps. That's why they're there. It's for you to make those decisions. But thank God, no flooding. Just a ton of rain. Just a crazy amount of rain. Look at this Tesla taxi here. All right, let's start to head down, because we do have a long journey all the way down to the Trade Center. New England Crypto, what's up? Always good to see you. Mark Francis says that's what I did before I bought my first condo. Yeah, it's always good to do that. You know, you can make a little checklist for yourself. And another thing is, if you're gonna buy in a condo in South Florida, and really anywhere, right? And you could have your attorney help you out with this, but you should do a complete financial audit of the working capital of that building, particularly in a place like South Florida. And we've spoken about this many times, because you can have these quote unquote, air quotes, cheap condos down there where, you know, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, $200,000, $300,000. But when you look into the financials, their working capital is zero and they don't have any reserves. So God forbid there's a huge spike in your insurance premium, or God forbid you need to do some significant work on that property, like if it needs a facade restoration, you know, if it needs a new elevator, if it needs a new HVAC system, well, that bill is, you're not going to be feeling too well. So I think the financial state of the condos down there, you really got to hammer that and really do your diligence. That's like the most important thing. You know, ask about special assessments. I would get like a 3 to 4 year look back on the graduated insurance expense. So like, what was the premiums post-COVID and what are they now? Yikes, little road rage. And just get a sense of where the insurance premiums are going, and chances are they're going to be going up and to the right, unfortunately. Hey, Chris Ace, can you recommend a comedy club? I'm not like a big comedy type guy, but we always walk past the Comedy Cellar in the Village. So right off of MacDougal Street, near New York University, there's the Comedy Cellar. Right across the street from the Comedy Cellar is that Blue Note Jazz Club. And every time we walk past there, it's packed. It looks like a really fun time down there. So that's what I would recommend. So take a look at it right off of MacDougal Street. Seems to be pretty popular in New York. Hey, George from West Texas. What's up, George? Welcome to New York City. We're happy to have you here during this heat wave in New York. Hey, Mitch Flips says, hey Tom, thanks for the book recommendation. I'm reading Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. Fantastic book. Really great book. And it's also an interesting book to kind of see how things were done back in the day. You know, it's not, I mean, it's a total different world now, where you can pretty much just roll out of bed, you know, go on your phone and start trading stocks. Back in the day, you know, you would go into the physical bucket shops and trade with paper, literally like ticker tape, paper tickets. I oftentimes wonder what that must have been like. Just to see that progression is really unbelievable. I think one of the best lessons in Reminiscences of a Stock Operator talks about the Livermore big round numbers. And you see this in the market all the time. I just posted something on X about Wingstop, which is a stock we've been watching for a long time, like about a year or two. And if it gets 20 points above the next round number, chances are it's going to hit the next one. So a few stocks in the market, you know, if you have positions in some stocks that are coming up on big round even numbers, more often than not, as human psychology makes it, it'll reach those numbers. It's very interesting. Wingstop now, I mean, talk about a crazy move in that stock. From 200 all the way to 450, I think it's 425 bucks now. Wingstop's trading at. Just that sector as a whole, the quick service restaurant and the fast casual has been just crushing it, absolutely crushing it. Chipotle, Wingstop, Cava, just unbelievable price action in those names. Cava will probably hit that big round number 100, that Livermore round number. All right, everybody, here's Bank of America Tower. We're standing right across the street from. RC says, Tom, I like your advice on flood maps. Yeah, I think it's important. I think a lot of people overlook that. And if you want to really take it to the extreme, if you're looking to buy a property, I would purposely go see the property down there on a week where it's going to be torrential downpour rains, kind of like what we just had last week, and drive the neighborhoods. You know, see what cross streets are flooding. You know, see if your property is dry. And if it is, you probably have a winner. And if there was, you know, one or two properties you were looking at, one of them, you know, the street was halfway filled with water and the other one was completely dry, it's probably, you're better off to buy the one that's completely dry. So it's just doing very, very, very intense diligence, especially when you're new to the business and it's, if you're buying, you know, your first home or something like that. I feel as if a lot of people, they just get so willy-nilly and they slack off on the diligence and they're like, I just want to buy it, so I'll just buy it. Well, it's very, very expensive owning a home and owning a property. The maintenance adds up over time, particularly if you're not renting it out. So you want to be able to mitigate your risk as much as possible. And also drive around the neighborhood late at night and just kind of observe who's coming in and out. You know, is it chaos after 9 p.m.? You know, I think you guys could kind of pick up what I'm putting down, but and maybe even get a hotel in the neighborhood where you're gonna buy, or get an Airbnb. Walk the neighborhood late at night, see who's coming in and out. Is it safe? You know, talk to your local precinct. Those are all things that you should be doing. Let's go in Bryant Park, we might as well. They now have Bryant Park movie nights. Every Monday night. June 10th through August 12th. You guys know any of these movies? I think I only know Forrest Gump. And obviously Titanic. Everyone knows Titanic. Hey Todd says, hey Tom, did you ever try Cava? I did. I thought it was pretty good. But I don't know if it's the type of food I could have every day. But every time I walk past one in Manhattan, it's very, very busy. Very, very busy. Many people now rotate. They're like, okay, I'll go to Chipotle for lunch one day, I'll go to Sweet Green the next day, and then I'll go to Cava the other day. It's kind of like a rotation. Well, we'll see. I think if they continue to hit all their metrics, should be a good one. As we've said, if they can maintain margins, right? The most important thing is being able to maintain gross margin as you scale. So oftentimes when businesses scale and have huge explosive growth and scalability, margins suffer. It's called margin erosion. And I think Chipotle as a textbook, did a really, really good job of scaling while being extremely profitable. And Cava seems to be on that track. The leaders by far in that group, the fast casual restaurants, Chipotle obviously number 1, Wingstop probably number 2, Cava potentially number 3. Todd says, I went to Sweet Green the other day for the first time, not bad. Nice, what'd you get? I feel as if with, we might as well do a quick lap around Bryant Park. I think we'll have enough time. Like we said before, what we were discussing, and again, it sounds kind of crazy, but Sweet Green is almost too healthy, I believe, to achieve the success of Chipotle. See, Chipotle is a healthy option, but it's not like a super, super healthy option where it excludes a lot of consumers. Everybody pretty much can find something to eat that they like to eat at Chipotle. It's just chicken, rice, steak and rice. Look at that, Empire State Building looks beautiful tonight. Lit up in green and red. Chris A. Starlink today unveiled the Starlink mini dish set priced at $299, the size of a MacBook, 13 inches. Now, I have a question for the audience here as it relates to Starlink. Now, since the pandemic, and I actually was involved in some of these deals, by the way. The pandemic happened, and then everybody went to remote work and remote schooling. The problem with education was that, especially in inner cities and in flyover states in rural America, many students and many children were being left behind because they didn't have access to the internet at home to do schoolwork, you know, just to do basic stuff. And I think many people can kind of overlook that. They think, wait, not everybody has Wi-Fi at home? No, not everybody has Wi-Fi at home, right? So the government spent billions and billions of dollars to connect children, people of lower income, and a lot of that money is running out right now and expiring. And big companies, telecom companies like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T made a lot of money, made crazy amounts of money, particularly the salespeople that dealt with SLED. So SLED is an acronym that stands for state, local government, and education. So the hierarchy of a sales organization, usually, right, if you're in tech sales or telecom sales, works a little something like this. First off, you have your SMB sales, which is your small to medium-sized businesses. Then you have your mid-market, which pretty self-explanatory. You're selling into middle market companies, not big companies, not small companies, mid-market companies. And then you have your enterprise account executives, which you're selling to enterprise customers, which are, you know, Fortune 500 and the like. The other two subcategories are SLED salespeople, which is state, local government, education, and then the next one is strategic. So if it's a massive Whopper account, they'll probably just dedicate you to one or two accounts. So the commissions were nuts. It was like a gravy train, and I believe that, you know, the lobbyists at Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T are very strong, as you can imagine, and they're bidding for more government contracts to keep this program rolling. But Elon Musk kind of sent a tweet about it the other day, and I think I agree with him. He's like, this program is costing billions of dollars. It really doesn't work that well, right? Because oftentimes they're just distributing hotspots to students, they get lost, or they're distributing Chromebooks or laptops with SIM cards in them, and then they get lost and damaged. But if they just invested in Starlink, it would cost significantly less, and it could connect way more students and lower income individuals and people from lower socioeconomic statuses than the current program we're doing now. So potentially, not potentially, I should say, is a very good argument that could be made here that this Connected Students program is a big waste of money. I don't know, I mean, what do you guys think about that? If you've been reading up on it, do you think we'd be better off just to give another contract to Starlink and power everybody? What do you guys think? Agree, disagree? Todd says Sweet Green doesn't offer much drink choice either. Copy that. Anyway, well, keep your eye on that one. We'll see. Here you're looking at the beautiful One Vanderbilt. Mentioned this before, but if you have an American Express card and you're in New York City, call the number on the back of your Amex card and have them make a reservation for you for the Centurion Lounge, which is just under the summit at One Vanderbilt. It's a good time. It's really fun. And you don't necessarily need to sit down at the restaurant and eat, because that's very, very expensive. You can just kind of sit at the bar or hang out at the lounge, take a look at all the nice views. It's a fun time. Check it out. It's the Centurion Lounge at One Vanderbilt. Here we are at the Stephen Schwarzman Building in the New York Public Library. Mary says Elon Musk's idea makes too much sense, so that program will continue the way it is. Yeah, for sure. Lots of traffic on Fifth Avenue tonight. Look at this. It's like gridlock. Well, let's start headed down. We'll walk right past the two lions, Patience and Fortitude. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams every night starting at 8:45. Hey, photos from around New York. Good to see you. Oh, that's right, the library was closed today for Juneteenth. Look at how beautiful the facade is. I really wish I could take a full video walking tour of the New York Public Library on the inside. But I don't think they allow filming in there, at least in most parts. Looks like you'll just have to come and check it out yourself. Hey, what's up, Joe E? Shannon says, Tom, did I see the DJT news with Martin Shkreli? I did not. Enlighten us about it. What happened? I really tried to see on Twitter, on X, I've muted certain ticker symbols. I really have. Particularly a lot of the meme stocks, because I just feel it's brain clutter at this point to me. I just have to be very conscious about what I'm putting in my mind, and I'm not talking bad about any of these companies, but just to be very blunt, I don't care about the Truth Social company. I think it's fraudulent after doing some diligence into it. Now, allegedly, I don't care about it. I don't think it's a real company. I don't think it's a real viable company. But I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the GameStop stuff, the AMC stuff, really none of it. I just try not to let it clutter my thoughts. Now, if you're into finance, I mention this a lot, but this library that we're looking at that's adjacent, the New York Public Library, if you go to the 5th floor, you can use the Bloomberg terminals for free. It's the International Business Center. And you don't even have to have a library card. All you do is you register at the front desk, and if the terminal is open, you can use it. And pretty much nobody ever uses it. Every time I'm in there, it's just me and maybe 1 or 2 other guys, and that's really about it. So I would take advantage of it. It's just a really good resource for the community to be able to use. Now, not to get too political, but I think it does tie into the economy and the financial markets. The city of New York has been making cuts to the library. So defunding, in a sense, the New York Public Library. And I think that's a very bad idea. The problem is, and I've said this many times before, most people, most New Yorkers, don't really understand the amount of free, right? I'm using air quotes when I say free because it's, taxpayer, resources available to us. They just don't know. And I think more people would use it and more people would get value out of it if they knew about it. So instead of all the nonsense advertisements on the subway about, hey, download this New York State lottery application and you can play lotto on your phone, right? Take those advertisements down and put up advertisements saying, hey, if you're a high school student and you're interested in, finance, we have free Bloomberg terminals and free Bloomberg terminal classes at the library. These are lucrative paying careers that you could be making, 100,000 plus as a recent graduate, and these are free resources to New York City students that are the residents in New York City. And a bunch of other stuff too. You should be running those advertisements, driving the populace to stuff that's not gonna rot their brain. What will rot their brain is advertisements about playing the lotto, scratch off, and all that nonsense, and casino gambling. But if you drive the messaging about, free educational resources, a place where you can come to after school, where it's going to be safe, you're not going to get harassed, right? And you have, help to how to, and courses on how to use these tools. It's free at the library. That's kind of what you should be advertising, not, download the lottery tickets. Anyway, and that'll have pretty booming effects on your populace down the line, right? Because it only takes one kid to be curious to kind of get the bug, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the investment business, it could be anything. But once a kid starts to see, like, wait, I can make how much money doing this? There's no way I'm gonna, try to join a gang and risk my life to sell drugs when I could, work in finance and potentially make $1 million, or become this doctor and make $1 million, or learn this trade, become this electrician, have my own business. You just need to be inserting those thoughts into the children, and you could do that by advertising. So if I was in charge of whatever it is, I don't even know what department you would call it, I'd say that's what we're going to funnel all the dollars to, because the payback period in 5 or 10 years is you're going to have less crime, you're going to have more people making more money, and what does that mean? That means more tax revenue, right? When you have a bunch of kids that are, you know, they feel lost and they want to join gangs, well, that creates a society of derelicts and losers, right? And it costs us more tax dollars because they're coming in and out of the system. But if the kids feel that they have opportunity and that people care about them, well, they're going to get really good jobs. And down the line, that means there's going to be more tax revenue for the state, less crime, and a better society for everybody. All right, look at how beautiful the Empire State Building looks tonight. If you look closely, you'll see the dragon on the very, very top spire of the Trade Center. Not the Trade Center. That's where we're going, of the Empire State Building. And that dragon is for the new HBO show that's coming out, or that came out, Game of Thrones. I'm not sure if anybody watches that. I don't watch that, but Chris said, did I see that guy throwing large objects off of the skyscraper? I think I saw like a few clips of that on Twitter or on X. What was the deal with that guy? What was the story with that? I think he was throwing patio furniture off of the office building. I don't know what the motive there was. Was it a disgruntled employee? But I think I did see that. It was close to 270 Park. I think it was right off of Madison Avenue. All right, 34th Street, everybody, and 5th. We're making good progress. Such a beautiful building. I feel as if these Art Deco buildings like Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, they're just timeless. They're timeless, beautiful buildings that'll always be in fashion, always be in style. Wow, Daryl, so I run a stock market course in my US history classes. I'm surprised by how many students are interested in 8th grade. That's awesome. That's awesome. It looks like the Reserve Roastery is still open. If you look on the upper level, this is a bar. So they have coffee-infused alcoholic drinks. Oh, photos from around New York says the guy just snuck into the building and just started doing it. Oh, so it was like a crazy guy? I mean, thank God nobody was hurt. I mean, if you're hurtling things off of skyscrapers in New York, I mean, that stuff must be hitting the ground at like 50 miles an hour, right? I mean, at least. If you're throwing tables and chairs off the roof. In some of these high-rise buildings, like the super tall, if you have a terrace, sometimes your building will send you a notification on when you have to bring in your furniture because it gets too windy. And oftentimes you have to mount it into the floor or put like one of those cable wires so it doesn't blow off. But yeah, photos from around New York. Luckily nobody was hurt by that. At least I don't think anybody was hurt by that. pizza here. We also have Banchan. We're about to head into the Koreatown neighborhood in New York, 32nd Street and 5th Avenue. This is that tea place I recommended last time. LA Inked. This is, I'm waiting for the Starlink IPO. That'd be awesome. Triple G, what's up? All right, let's continue to head down. Now, tomorrow morning at 8:30, we're going to get initial jobless claims. And then on Friday, we're going to get existing home sales, which will probably be down significantly. Now, we've talked about reasons why existing home sales are down and continue to go down. We'll make one lap through Koreatown. But the real estate sales business is very, very difficult this year in 2024. If you look at the amount of transactions that were done in 2021 and compare them to the amount of transactions that are being done this year, it's more than cut in half. More than cut in half. There's just not a lot of deals getting done. The market is pretty frozen. Now, last year, in 2023, existing home sales were the lowest since the financial crisis. Now, it was the lowest for different reasons, right? What's interesting now is you don't really have prices coming down as much as people would have expected. Now, prices are coming down, that's undeniable, but they're not coming down as much as many expected. And I think the biggest reason for that is because, number one, most people that purchased a home over the last decade has fixed rate debt that is very, very cheap. I would say sub 4%. Many of you in the audience probably have, less than 3% 30-year fixed. So there's really no incentive to pay that off, particularly since inflation is running at 3.3%. Many of you have money that's cheaper than that. Additionally, what that does is reduce the overall amount of supply on the market, because people just don't want to move. They just want to hold on to their low rate. They're like, I don't really need to move. I have a lot of equity in the property. If I don't get the price that I want to transact, there's really no reason for me to move. Creates a big gridlock. Now, much of the inventory and many of the deals that are being done are cash deals. That's another reason why I think there's so little deals being done, is because not a lot of people have the liquidity to, throw down $1 million on a home or on a property, right? In New York City, you're talking 3, 4, up to $40 million deals being done in cash. So you actually see the luxury market, 5 million plus, deals are being done overwhelmingly in cash, overwhelmingly. Mainly because the average 30-year fixed right now is probably a little bit above 7%. Now, one of the things that's saving a lot of these banks, and we've talked about this, we've actually written about this in our newsletter, the Behind the Street newsletter. Oh, this is H Mart. Love H Mart. This is one of my favorite grocery stores of all time. They also have a location near NYU. Not too far away from the new Wegmans, by the way. wish they would open up a few H Marts out on Long Island. Although I think they may have one in Manhasset or something like that on the North Shore. I don't know. Anyway, so you have, when you saw a lot of these layoffs at the big banks, if you looked a little bit further under the hood, you would have noticed that it's mainly in the mortgage department. Because in 2021, they had so much demand for people getting mortgages, so many people were buying homes, money was so cheap. Now, mortgage demand is at all-time record lows for the reasons that we spoke about, and the deals that are getting done are cash, so you don't even need the banks. So it'll be interesting to see on Friday, and we'll definitely have a more in-depth discussion this Friday about existing home sales. But what do you guys think in the chat? What do you think existing home sales in the US are going to come in? Mimi says National Realtors Association court ruling on buyer agent commission doesn't help either. I don't think it plays a factor at all, to be honest. Hey, New England Crypto, NAV 407 is here. DC 322, always a pleasure. Faith, God bless. Always a pleasure to see you. I still haven't tried this place. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams pretty much every day starting at 8:45. Hey, Everything in Miami's here. Everything in Miami says if you have an FHA or a VA loan with a good rate, the buyer can assume it and then get a second loan for the balance of the deal. DC says over 100,000 realtors left the industry since 2023. LA Inked says wait till people have to pay taxes on unrealized gains. I don't think that's ever going to go through. I think that's just cartoonishly ridiculous. I think both, and I think that's a bipartisan thing. If you ask any, normal Democrat and any normal Republican, if they think that that's a good idea to tax unrealized gains, an overwhelming majority of people are going to say no. That's just, it's ridiculous. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. And I think if that ever passes, which it's just not, you would see such aggressive capital flight out of the US. It wouldn't even be funny. Although I don't even know if that would work, because if you're a US citizen, you still have to pay taxes if you live abroad on your assets. I don't know, anybody have any thoughts about that, taxing unrealized gains? I think that's completely insane to use Surf's Flat Traders comments as taxing unrealized gains is completely insanity. And both Democrats and Republicans believe that. I don't know why that was ever proposed in the first place. That's like political suicide. It's silly at the end of the day. It's not a real conversation to have, honestly. It's not real. And not to get too political, but if the Democrats really cared about the whole tax issue, they would get rid of carried interest. But there's about a 0.000% chance that that'll ever happen. For reasons which I'll bite my tongue. Yeah, that's a good point. Photos from around New York says Tom, sometimes politicians will propose something in order to purposely have it quote-unquote negotiated out in the first place. It's a good point. Photos from around New York makes a good point there. All right, so we're gonna walk down Broadway, and one of the things you'll notice about Broadway, just south of 27th Street, is that they've closed it to vehicle traffic. So there's only pedestrians and cyclists that are allowed. You're gonna see two brand new buildings, one of which we're coming up on to the right, which is the new Virgin Hotel. And then in 2 more blocks, you're gonna see the St. Regis NoMad. What do you guys think? I haven't stayed here, but the rooms are literally looking right at the Empire State Building. So you're gonna get really good views of Midtown here. DC says Warren Buffett approach towards inflation is great. If inflation goes over 3%, Congress is not eligible for re-election. I think he said that about the national debt or something like that, didn't he? TK Porsche says Nomad Capitalist would do a banner business of America, acquiring second and third passports and renouncing citizenship. Durrell says, would you get the money back when unrealized gains are lost? No. NAV407 says Canada's Liberal government is talking about taxing unrealized capital gains. Very loony. It's just not going to work. It just doesn't work. It does not work in a business sense. It's impossible to do any type of planning. It could, and in some cases, depending on the person's liquidity, it could quite literally spell theft of their company. Right? You would have to force sale a company you founded in some cases, which is crazy. Which over time that could erode your overall equity stake, which could mean giving up board seats, losing voting rights, voting power of your own company. So it just doesn't make any sense. Every time I walk down this place in Broadway, it's always like the same. I always see the same guy. He walks up behind me, he's like, cocaine, cocaine. I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and do that transaction live. Like, these people have no brain, you know? Yeah, let me go ahead and buy some cocaine live on stream in front of 1,100 people. Anyway. All right, West 29th Street. This is the Ritz-Carlton NoMad. That's a Tesla Model Y. Alright, let me turn around here so I can show you this building. There it is, right on the corner of West 28th Street and Broadway. Oh, say again?
What are you streaming about?
Yeah, it's called Walks on Wall Street.
Walks on Wall Street?
Yeah, Walks on Wall Street. We do like a 2-hour live show. We discuss the markets and things like that.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube, yeah. Yeah, take care. You see the Ritz-Carlton NoMad. Seems like a lot of people are here too. At least the occupancy is good. Okay, let's cross and maybe we'll take a little bit of a detour through the village as we are on our way down. Yeah, Anna says bye after the stream. Hilarious. All right, let's get going here. West Village is probably rocking tonight too. 7th Street Burger. Oh, nice. Everything in Miami. So I'm staying in Soho, July 1st to the 5th. Nice. So you'll be here for the fireworks, which are now going to be relocated to the west side once again. So lastly, tomorrow morning at 8:30 as well, we're going to get the initial jobless claims out. So you'll have initial jobless claims, you'll have housing starts, and oftentimes, you know, we talk about very, very specific leading economic indicators, and housing starts is a big one. I think the biggest three, if we had to rank them, obviously we talk about the Institute for Supply Management, PMI numbers, the Purchasers Managers Index, that comes out on the first business day of every single month. And it's important to watch the PMIs, both the manufacturing and the services, is because manufacturing makes up about 20% of the US economy. And there's a very, very high correlation between GDP growth and the direction of the market. And you can go back and pull this data yourself. Yahoo Finance lets you export a lot of this data. So if you pull manufacturing PMIs going back to the 60s, generally speaking, when the PMIs are trending up and they're positive, 70% of the time, GDP growth is positive. And another 70% of the time, when GDP growth is positive, the market is also positive 6 months later, right? So again, these are leading indicators or leading economic indicators. So there's lead by 6 months. And housing starts, we can kind of have the same concept applied to the home builder index, right? Or just home builders in general, like Toll Brothers, D.R. Horton. And home builders have actually been a leading sector in the market. They've been performing really, really well. So when that report comes out tomorrow, we will review that on the live stream. Also, additionally, tomorrow is Thursday. So right as the market closes tomorrow, I will email all of you our latest issue of the Behind the Street newsletter, where we're going to be breaking down a lot of these concepts that came out throughout the month. So check your email around 6 o'clock at night for our Behind the Street newsletter. If you want to subscribe to that for free, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. We have about 2 years of archived research for free. Chris A says WeWork emerges from bankruptcy. Now, you know what's funny about WeWork? Adam Newman, I've met him before. He is now going through with the new venture. And he's actually raised quite a bit of money from Andreessen Horowitz. I believe the company is called Flow. So maybe he'll do this whole charade again with that company. Now, Flow has a location right in downtown Miami, adjacent the Casella Center. And I think we've done multiple walking tours around there. That's where it's going to be the new Miami World Center. But yeah, we'll see how successful that is. The Flow by Adam Newman. I've always said Adam Newman is the most persuasive guy ever. If you watch some interviews, some archived interviews with Adam Newman on CNBC, he is the master of reframing. So oftentimes in sales, you'll learn how to reframe conversations, and he is a master at that. But it also Adam Newman's story also kind of goes to show that just because you fail at something once, and there's allegations of WeWork, it was a fraud, he was cooking the books, and he was taking money from his own company. Again, that's all alleged. I can't really speak on that, but people are still willing to give this guy money, and lots of it, to the tune of billions, from very, very reputable venture capitalists. Mark Andreessen, right? Andreessen Horowitz. So if you have a failure in life, keep going. Just because you've lost money once in a business dealing, you've had to declare bankruptcy, doesn't mean life is over, doesn't mean it's done. You push through and you keep going in perpetuity forever. And I think a lot of people have this mischaracterization that if they fail at something, or if they lose money, or if their idea that they thought was $1 million idea goes to zero, that nobody's going to trust in them again, right? Nobody's going to take a shot on them again. It's not true, right? If you have a good reputation, if you have good moral and ethics standing, people will be willing to give you a shot time and time again. So I think that's kind of a good reframe, how to think about Adam Newman's story there. Very good reframe. Any thoughts on that reframe? I thought that was pretty good. All right, looks like we're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit. We're right outside the Flatiron building here. This is also gonna be turned into condos. Colton Manning, what's up? Robert A says, I'm 67, keep going, love that. God bless you, Robert. 67's very young. You have a whole life ahead of you. So we're gonna stay on Broadway all the way to Union Square. You're gonna notice things are gonna get a lot more quiet as we transition through this neighborhood. And then the rowdiness will pick back up again right at the tail end of Union Square, 14th Street. And then maybe we'll take a little bit of a detour through Washington Square Park near New York University. And then take a straight shot through Soho, through Tribeca, down to the World Trade Center. Now this used to be the best shot of all time in all New York City. This used to be so beautiful, but this big development is blocking the Empire State Building. It's unfortunate. Hey, what's up, Joseph Hardaway? Triple G says everyone deserves a second chance, for sure. Ed Dunkel says Flo wants to be the housing utopia for remote workers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Look, I don't root for anybody to fail. I don't care who you are. I want you to be successful. But I don't know. I feel as if I don't know. I'll leave it at that. Now, I am very, very bullish on that whole neighborhood down there. I think I filmed, was it like 2 weeks ago, I think I posted it 2 weeks ago, of the Miami World Center. There's gonna be that huge Apple store right in the middle. It's almost like they're building another city there. It's very, very cool. If you go to downtown Miami and you're standing right outside the 1000 Museum building, which is the Zaha Hadid, just walk west, southwest, and you're gonna run right into it. It's pretty much gonna be a brand new city. It's very, very cool. All new restaurants, all new retail. Apple just signed a big lease there. Flow, Adam Newman's Flow, his big building is there. So we'll see. And then if you continue south just a little bit, you run into Miami-Dade College.
No, I'll just put
Which I'm very, very impressed with Miami-Dade College. If you haven't been there in a long time, they've really invested in technology. They have a whole cybersecurity laboratory now. They have a great cybersecurity program. They have a great AI program now. And those are going to be very, very coveted and lucrative jobs. I always said, like, if I had to redo it over again, I don't think I have any regrets in my life, but like, just for fun, if I had to do everything all over again, I would have aggressively pursued a career immediately as an account executive at a pure play cybersecurity company like Palo Alto, Zscaler, something like that, CrowdStrike. Because I would have been at those companies, well, if I worked for like CrowdStrike or Zscaler, I would have been at those companies when they went public. So, and the funny thing is I used to sell Zscaler products. I didn't work for Zscaler, but I sold them through the channel, through channel partners. But yeah, I think that's a very, it's a good runway there, cybersecurity. And you don't even necessarily need to be in sales. Maybe you're on the engineering side. Maybe you're on the implementation side. But cyber in general, very good. A few notable deals actually that just happened. I believe we've talked about this before, but Thoma Bravo, that's Orlando Bravo's private equity firm. Now, Thoma Bravo has a specialization in enterprise software, and they recently just took private Darktrace. Not sure if anybody's familiar with that company, but that's now the second cybersecurity firm that they've taken private. First was Ping Identity, which was taken public by Vista Equity Partners, then taken private by Thoma Bravo, and then they just recently acquired Darktrace. So I think they're going to make a lot of money on those two deals. Here we are, East 17th Street. We are on the northern end of Union Square, which tends to be very lively on the weekends, particularly during the summer. Hey, MBA Elias, what's going on? All right, just have enough time to... You know what I just noticed? Look at this. Looks like they're gonna pave all new bike lane here. At least it looks that way. You can kind of see the lanes that are sketched out for brand new bike lane infrastructure. Hey, Dan Sangs. Tom, it's gonna be hot as hell tomorrow. It is gonna be hot as hell tomorrow. It's supposed to be, I think, 96 degrees, but with the heat index, it could be over 100. So definitely stay cool, everybody. Tomorrow, for sure. Hey, Steve from Buffalo. What's up, Steve? Says, how's everybody doing tonight? Well, it's a beautiful night in New York. I think we have a full moon out tonight, too. Or maybe an almost full moon. And we're gonna head to the World Trade Center tonight. Hope you had a good day off. Markets were closed today for the Juneteenth holiday. This place is always packed. I think it's vegan ice cream. You can get the LNQR 4, 5, and 6 trains.
You got chicken?
Run right into the main Whole Foods. JC, good to see you. Lemonade. Wow, Armando. This is Tom. It was 105 degrees today in Arizona. Whew. Well, I guess the good thing for you is that it's not humid in Arizona, so it doesn't feel too bad. When I went to Vegas, I don't know, I can't live in that climate. I actually like it hot and humid. Now, for all of those Miamians in the chat, everything in Miami, I think you're still here. There was, I follow the local weather guys on Twitter. And right now in the Northeast, it's hotter in cities like Boston, Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, New York City, than it is in Miami. It's hotter here than it is down there. I feel like the world, weather-wise, is all topsy-turvy, flipped upside down. It's just so strange. And then it was snowing in Montana. There was a summer football camp in the snow in June. Crazy town. Here we have it again, the summer roller skating club. Usually we see these guys cruising through Times Square. Ren 1018's dry heat is nice. Orlando humid heat is the worst. I'm not a big fan of Orlando. I want to be right on the water. Everything in Miami says it was only 87 degrees today. That's not bad at all. Emmett says, any thoughts on the toll program? What's next for that hardware? I'm not too sure. Are you talking about the congestion pricing? The governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, temporarily suspended the program. So I think we just spent all that money for no reason. All right, let's head down. You got these guys playing chess. See, that's the reason why I like being in New York City in the summer. Because there's just so much crazy stuff going on at all hours of the day. Like, it's probably 10:30 at night, and we got a big roller skating club here. Just everybody's hanging out. Smoking a little bit too much weed, though. My eyes are actually starting to water up a little bit. All right, let's bang this left on University Place, and we'll check out New York University. Look at these apartments here. I don't know if I could live with my view looking right over Union Square. I don't know how that's very relaxing. A lot of crazy stuff happens here. I don't know if I could live here, but NBA Live says, Tom, would you ever consider working or living in Alaska? Probably not, honestly. What about you? It's just not my type of climate. I like it extremely hot and extremely humid all year round. Which I know many of you think I'm crazy for, but that's just what I like. I don't know why. I don't even like the fall, really. If I had a choice, I would have this heat dome parked over New York City in perpetuity. I like the heat dome. I'm for the heat dome. 2 thumbs up for the 100-degree plus weather in New York. I love it. There's nothing like it, man. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Let's just say that.
Which means that you make money.
short, guys. New York City weather today was perfect.
That's like Zion, you can easily do for a long weekend. I don't think.
Melissa 27 says, I hate family in Alaska. Oh, God. Well, or maybe there was a typo for have. Maybe have family in Alaska. Yeah, the NBA Lives. I guess we could ask FredX in the chat. FredX lives in Alaska. Now those fishermen, those are pretty decently lucrative careers, and it's like a rotation. It's like 6-month shifts. Wow, look at that. Ah, this is what I was talking about at a Sweet Green. See, it says the caramelized garlic steak, grass-fed. This was a perfect business strategy move by Sweet Green. This just pretty much doubled their TAM, I would say. With ease, doubled the total addressable market for the company. Because, like I said, Sweet Green, the problem that I have with getting very aggressively bullish this company is they sell grass and weeds. And not a lot of people like to eat that stuff. I don't like to eat that stuff. But if you have an option like that with steak, you just quite literally doubled your TAM overnight. So we'll see if it has any staying power. I actually may go there and try that. So great, who's ever in charge of the menu or marketing there at Sweet Green, I think they just quite potentially could possibly be responsible for a huge growth trajectory in that company. Possibly.
I don't know.
Oops. Yeah, Chuck Rumford's is 1.5 miles to go. Not too bad. Now, if we have time, what I really want to do when we're down there is go to Brookfield Place. If you're not familiar with Brookfield Place and you're visiting New York City during the summer, that's a fantastic place to go, particularly during sunset. That spot rivals some of the sunsets that I've seen at Haulover Inlet, Val Harbor, Surfside. It's beautiful there because the sun is setting overlooking Hoboken, New Jersey. So, if we can get down there, I'll take you guys to Brookfield Place. Now, if you go into the Oculus, which is that underground mall and train station, you have both the PATH train and the subway that goes out of the Oculus. But if you walk all the way to the back, there's an underground corridor that'll take you under West Street, right by Goldman Sachs, the 200 West Street, and you'll pop up under the highway at Brookfield Place. It's awesome. So, assuming some of the buildings are open, maybe we'll have to take you guys down in there, pending the internet. But it's a very underexplored neighborhood on this live stream. Hey, NMB 45 says Brookfield Place, a hidden gem in Lower Manhattan. It really is. It's nice. There's a lot of good I think there's a Del Frisco's location there too. So we will be steadfast down there. Kirsten S. This is excited to cruise Alaska next summer. We'll be in New York City before and after our New England/Canada cruise this October. Very nice. Yeah, some of those cruise ships are huge. I spent some time down in South Point Park in Miami, and right by that restaurant, Smith & Walensky, there's this beautiful outdoor dining patio, and you're overlooking all of those cruise ships coming in and out. Oh, good on that car for stopping. I thought he was gonna run over the soccer ball. Yeah, right near Fisher Island. All right, let's cross over to the right. But I feel as if the airline business and the cruise business are some of the worst businesses ever for investment. To kind of tie it back to the financial talk. Cruise lines and airlines, in my view, are uninvestable. They are just the worst businesses ever. Huge capex. Doesn't really make much money. Just bad businesses. Ren 1018 says agreed, they're terrible. Indeed they are. Okay, now we are cutting through Washington Square Park, which is quite beautiful during the summer. The temperature quite literally probably dropped like 10 degrees from walking in the park, because you have all these trees providing this big canopy. It's so nice. Did anybody see that wild story in the news? I think one of you sent it to me. There was this freshman at NYU. Apparently her father is some big Russian billionaire, and her dorm mate, is that what you call it? Dorm mate, roommate? If you live in a dorm? I don't know, I didn't do any of that dorm stuff. I just commuted to college. But anyway, apparently her dorm roommate stole over like $50,000 worth of jewels and gems from her during her time at freshman year. And when I was reading that, I'm like, what a different world from where I went to college. You know, $50,000 in anything was like so foreign to me, and pretty much everybody who went to my college. But you know, NYU is one of the top schools in the world. You know, so it attracts top talent from people from everywhere. You know, CEOs of companies send their kids there. So I can only imagine the crazy stuff that you'll see. But yeah, apparently, allegedly, I should say, stole over $50,000 of gems and like jewelry from her at her dorm. Now, lastly, the funniest thing about this story is, how could you imagine being so rich that you don't notice somebody stealing $50,000 worth of jewelry from you until like a year later? That's what I think about when I think about that. Like, imagine being so wealthy or so rich. They're like, yeah, I think somebody must have jacked me for like 50 grand worth of stuff. Anyway. Mark Francis 076 is exactly right. This is cool. You have the fountain here. To the left, you have the Empire State Building. To the right, you have the World Trade Center and the Stern School of Business. What's up, Trade Brigade? Good to see you. Hopefully you had a good day off. We get jobless claims early tomorrow. Welcome to Washington Square Park in the summer, everybody. Very fun and interesting place for sure. Get a load of that guy on that dual bike. It's like a double height bike. I feel like you're walking through a video game. Now the smell is definitely not pleasant, but it's still quite nice.
It's like every...
Now we always talk about the famous finance professor, Otswad Damadaran. He teaches at the Stern School of Business just off to the left. Now, if you don't have the money to take any of those courses, you can take them for free online. Professor Damadaran posts all of his coursework and the exams for free. So you can even take the coursework and the exams at no cost. I think I have a link to the course somewhere. I just forget the Nightbot command, but if you want to take the corporate finance and the security analysis MBA course for free, if you head over to my Twitter handle, @WalksWallStreet, I think I may have it pinned on my profile. If not, just go to Professor Damadaran's Twitter page, and he definitely has it pinned on his profile. Now, obviously, you won't get any credit, like college credit for it, but what's more important than the college credit is the knowledge. So who cares about the credits, right? What's most important is the skill set. So take advantage of it. It's online for free. Trade Brigade, just here in my garage. Whatever happened to that guy? Holy crap, I remember that guy. I would always get the YouTube advertisements. Ty Lopez. Here in my garage. Knowledge. I hope he's doing well. Didn't he buy some distressed clothing retailer or something like that? I forget what the company was, but anyway, this is the main town, kind of college town for NYU. We're gonna head over to MacDougal Street before making a left and going right through Canal Street, which is where we almost had to scrap with those fake bag salesmen. NBA Elias says Professor Damadaran has always had really good interviews on CNBC. He has, and there's also a big misconception with that guy, because he's been catching some heat on Twitter as of late, but there is a major difference between being an academic and actually running money and putting it in practice. And you can't really compare the two at all, because some people were roasting him about, you know, his thoughts on NVIDIA and this and that. First of all, he is an educator first that teaches you the fundamentals of how to do things on your own, right? How to fundamentally, the textbook way, how to evaluate companies. I mean, he's regarded to be one of the best professors on earth, and I think he is in that regard. But academic, oh, look at that Cybertruck. Let's go check it out. I almost completely missed that. There's just a random Cybertruck in the middle of the village tonight. There's a massive difference between, you know, running money and trading and the academic world of teaching you the fundamentals of just how to do it, if that makes sense. Just traditional valuation. Man, this thing looks so sick. Now, I was talking to some of my friends, and apparently there's a wait list on this thing. In some countries, you can't get them until like June of next year. Let's check out the front of it. Man, I want to get one so bad. What are your thoughts, everybody? Thumbs up or thumbs down on the Cybertruck? See, I think that's the main thing, right? If you notice the reaction around the Cybertruck, it doesn't really matter if you like it or not. Most people it kind of turns heads in a way.
Is this your car?
Huh?
Is this yours?
Oh, no, it's yours. Most people kind of, you know, have a very surprised reaction to the Cybertruck, whether you like it or not, right? And it kind of goes back to that principle we talked about before of the companies or the investments that have the most controversy, right? Tesla definitely being probably the top one. It's either you really love Elon Musk or you think he's a fraudster and you can't stand him, you think he's a narcissist. There's no in between. I don't think I've met anybody that's neutral on Elon Musk or Tesla. Those tend to be the investments that really outperform because it creates this massive divide and turbocharge between the bulls and the bears. I think another good example is Bitcoin or just the cryptocurrency world in general. 9 times out of 10, it's either people are all in on it or they're all out and they think it's just rather nonsense. There's very, very seldom people that have a neutralized, middle of the road view on it. At least in my opinion, anyway.
Your energies are down, bro.
Cafe Wa. Diana's thumbs down. The Celtec can't stand the Cybertruck. Tucson's is the ugliest vehicle since the DeLorean. I'm not too sure what the DeLorean is, but I'm afraid to look it up. But look, I respect both opinions, and I could definitely understand why people don't like Elon Musk. I understand it. I definitely get it. But on the flip side, I think in order to run as many companies that he runs with the success that he has, you almost kind of have to be a little bit narcissistic and be a little bit of an asshole, just to be very blunt, right? You can't be a little candy-coated pushover if you're running Tesla, if you started PayPal, Neuralink. You know, you kind of got to be a little bit of a bulldog. And many CEOs who started amazing companies that changed the world were not the most pleasant people to be around. Okay, have you ever heard of any, closed door stories about Steve Jobs? He wasn't necessarily a sweetheart. I mean, the guy was absolutely ruthless. So maybe in a sense you have to act that way or have that persona to achieve that level of success. Now, it's just a thought, doesn't mean I'm right. T. Russ says Elon has 0 patents on his companies. I think that's actually a good thing for humanity and innovation, in my opinion. I think an open sourced, particularly in and around the technologies that he's working on, right? Electric vehicles, Neuralink. You know, I mean, EVs, Tesla has pretty much revolutionized the EV industry and has almost forced, if not pushed, a lot of the other auto OEMs to get involved. And it's a difficult business. Most auto OEMs go bankrupt, just like Fisker filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, because it is a very, very capital intensive business to build out those supply chains. And Tesla is the only automaker that is profitable on EVs. It's a very, very difficult business. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these streams every night at 8:45 p.m. Look at that projector on that side of the building. It's a pretty cool shot, right? We're almost there, a few more minutes. Yeah, NBA Alliance says, Tom, it must be difficult to work for Ken Griffin at Citadel. I could only imagine. Also Jensen, right at NVIDIA. You know, he's a hard ass. I could only imagine what it's like to work for him. I really like Jensen. You know, he's like, his whole thing is you need to put yourself through struggle. You know, you really need to learn how to persevere through adversity. I was watching one of his interviews, which was so fascinating, which was about, you know, people at all these that were kind of brought up in pedigree at these elite high schools, elite elementary schools, elite colleges, you know, top performing individuals. And, you know, they study very, very hard. They get all the best grades. And in that environment, you're not really too used to failing a lot because you're put on that directional path to, you know, get the good grades, study, look at the book, you know, and get the good marks. And he said that the number one thing that he thinks that is a big decider for success is not, you know, really even intelligence. It's how much can you persevere through adversity and continuously keep going after failures. Essentially just being relentless. So if you can combine two of those things, which Elon Musk has and Jensen has, right? Super geniuses, super smart, the best schools, top education, but these guys are freaking relentless. It's unreal. I don't even know how they do it. Sometimes I just think, I just don't know how they have all of the time to do all this stuff. And it's not like they're working on rinky-dink stuff. Like, these are problems that are going to change the world, change people's healthcare forever. So, but anyway, that was such a good interview, and it's such a good lesson. You know, try to desensitize yourself to failure. And that's one reason why I kind of thank God that I kind of fell backwards into sales, particularly business-to-business sales in New York City. You get abused by some of these people you talk to. And if you can consistently persevere through that, become numb to the rejection, it's like an invincibility. It's like the best feeling ever. Yeah, so just continue to just push ahead, push forward, regardless of what happens. If you have a big payday, you make a few $1,000,000 and you go to zero, you lose it all, no worries, just money, go back and get it. You know, get back on the horse, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and get after it again. Who cares? The way it was explained to me by a really good friend of mine when I was younger is the reason why you're kind of afraid of all the failure and, you know, losing all the money you made is because you care about the perception of other people, if that makes sense. So like the money you have, you want to say, oh, look at how much money I have, I'm so successful, to other people. But if you don't really care about the perception of others, right? Then it's like you're free. Which, in other words, is don't have a big ego. So if you can lower your ego and not really care, and essentially reframe it as the money is worthless and it doesn't really matter, chances are you're probably going to get a lot more of it, and much, much more than you could ever spend in a lifetime. All right, 2 more blocks. We'll make a left. Wow, look at the bar in there. This is a nice outdoor dining setup. Hey, Sabrina Fair, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night. NAV 407. Tesla's secret weapon is the manufacturing process, for sure. Yeah, there were some interviews where it really all comes down to seconds, not even minutes. Minutes and seconds could be the difference between making or losing a few $1 million in the manufacturing process. Is this guy gonna go? It's a green light. Maybe we'll go down one more and make a right. I'm trying to figure out which is going to be the best view of the Trade Center. Hey, Trade Brigade. Hopefully you had a good day off, and may your day tomorrow be very profitable. We're about to come up on Broome Street. We used to have this really interesting listing here at 554 Broome Street. It used to be an old horse stable for the New York City Fire Department, and they converted it into condos. Very, very cool. Check that out. Beautiful shot of the World Trade Center. Hey Ramiro, thank you so much for your generous $20 donation. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for supporting the broadcast. And hopefully you're enjoying the stream tonight too. Hey, Shane is here, says, "G'day, mate. I miss visiting New York. Best wishes from Sydney." Well, hopefully you can visit us again. Now, it's winter time now in Sydney, right? It's the opposite of what it is here in the States. But thanks for watching. So, we are going to make the transition into the Tribeca neighborhood in New York, which once was the most expensive neighborhood to live in. Now it is the second most expensive neighborhood to live in. The most expensive neighborhood to live in now is the West Village. You can see everybody waiting to get on the tunnel to head out to New Jersey. And once we get this light, we will have reached Canal Street, which splits the island of Manhattan in half. It'll take you to the tunnel, but it'll also take you to the Manhattan Bridge. Ah, perfect. Seems like a lot of traffic this late. Maybe everybody's taking a long weekend. WH7 says, hey Tom, what are your thoughts on London, England? I would love to go to London. I think I would really like it. I've never been, but from what I'm told, it has a similar allure to it of New York. Like everybody's kind of like hustling all the time, very finance focused. So I think I'd like London, I'd say. I maybe wouldn't stay there for a long time. I'm not too big of a fan of the weather. This will take you all the way to Grand Street. Shane says, come to Sydney, you'd love it more than London. I'm down. I really want to travel more. I never leave New York, so I'm in. If you give me some recommendations of places to go, I'm in. I'll do it. Now, as we cross to the south side of Canal Street, you'll see one of the most notable buildings in Tribeca, which is 55 Leonard. It is also known as the Jenga building. You can see it right in front of us. And here we are, Canal Street. Here so we could avoid all of the thugs. You can pretty much see all the way to Chinatown from here. Chinatown, Little Italy. Enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams every day starting at 8:45. Look at these beautiful buildings with those fire escapes. Okay, we'll go ahead and bang this right, and now we're gonna have a straight shot down through Tribeca to the World Trade Center. This is gonna be a cool walk. There's a lot of cool bars here, a lot of interesting nightlife. This is a cool view of the Trade Center and the Jenga building. One of the more notable architectural marvels of Tribeca. What's up, Zozo Bob? We're about to come up on the Roxy Hotel.
A safe space. So when nobody would say anything, nobody would snitch. Obviously,
Hola, we out? I gotta take a leak, bro. You recording? Live? You live?
All right, we're coming up on Franklin Street. Now, right off of Franklin Street is Franklin Place, where we have an interesting listing. If you want to look it up, 5 Franklin Place, apartment 8A. All right, we'll bang a left here. I want to take a quick pit stop. I know I've showed you many times, but we have some new people in the audience. Right off of Franklin Street is a private street called Franklin Place. And it has these beautiful original Belgian block streets. And it has a building called 5 Franklin Place. 54 units total. It was built in 2015. Has a beautiful pool on the roof, and the facade of the building opens up to a car elevator that'll park your car for you about 2 stories underground. Quickly do a pass by on our way to the World Trade Center. If you pull up Street Easy, you can see the listing. We're selling unit 8A, 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, storage on the same floor, just under 2,000 square feet. And we just reduced the price too. So you can see private driveway. So nobody's really allowed here. Since there's a car there, I don't want to intrude, but the building's right here. So very, very private. It's 55 Leonard again. Faith's is unit 88, no, unit 8A. So 5 Franklin Place, unit 8, and then A is in Apple. We listed it at 3,495, so 3,495,000, but we just reduced it to 3,350,000. So on our way to the Trade Center, we're gonna walk past BMCC, which is the Borough of Manhattan Community College that sits in the CUNY system, the City University of New York. not to be confused with SUNY, S-U-N-Y. That stands for State University in New York. Yeah, Melee says it's very quiet. Tribeca is generally very quiet, particularly at night. Very, very quiet. What do you guys think of the Jenga building? It's unique, right? And we also have our version of the Chicago Bean right there. Catherine's beautiful condo, thank you. Yeah, and 2 floors above us lives one of the most famous New York Rangers ever in history. So if you like hockey, maybe that's could potentially be the building for you. This is 33 Thomas Street. This is that sketchy NSA building that has no windows. ETC3. This is the Chicago Beans better than New York? Maybe. Holy crap, we've been streaming for 2.5 hours. See, the summer, you lose track of time. You lose track of time, my friends. But Freedom Tower looks awesome. Dune Street. Ed Dunkel. Absolutely. Wow, look at that view. That beautiful cast iron facade and the spire of the World Trade Center. Captain Super says NSA building. Do you mean the Long Lines building? Yes. We'll make a detour around the sanitation. Little maneuver. Hey, Western Mass Dave. good to see you. Someone's asking if I track my steps. I'd say yes and no. I guess it gets tracked automatically through the health app on my iPhone. I think we do over 13 miles a day, with the stream and without the stream. Which I think is good, because I feel as if I always have energy, which is good. And I was reading this book that says, you know, walking a lot helps with idea generation. And in the investment business, it's very important to churn out a lot of ideas. And also it's cool. I mean, you know, it's kind of like we have our own book club / investing club every night. Just turn on the camera and everybody joins in. It's a lot of fun. So it's a blessing. I think this live stream has been a real blessing to my life, I think, for sure. It's a good time, meet some good people, have a chat, get some exercise, walk around the city. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for everybody, you know?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you look all the way in the distance, you could see a little bit of the Oculus. Now, the Oculus, it's supposed to resemble a dove, like a dove's wings. It sits right outside of the World Trade Center. And if you go inside the Oculus, if you walk all the way to the back, you can take the PATH train to New Jersey, but you could also take the subway. Now, if you go further when you're underground and you go past the PATH train, that'll take you to the connection bridge underground, which you'll go all the way under West Street and pop out by Brookfield Place. Now, on the other side of West Street, that's where you have a lot of the banking institutions like Goldman Sachs. There's at 200 West Street, you have BNY Mellon over there. I think you have American Express. This is that steakhouse. I think it's called Chopped. Or Cut, excuse me. Right on Barclay Street. This is the Four Seasons Hotel. This is a very, very expensive and I think a little bit overrated steakhouse. This is Wolfgang Puck, called Cut. Here's a look at the dining room with all the lights on. Looks nice. 99 Church Street, Wolfgang Puck Cut. Hey, Brad's brain. Yeah, let's have a good day in the market tomorrow, for sure. Brad, we were briefly reviewing how well the fast casual food sector is performing. Chipotle, Wingstop, over 400. That stock is ran from the breakout in November, from 200 bucks to 425 bucks. That's a TML, true market leader. Kava probably hit 100. Livermore, big round number. And we'll see about Sweet Green. But it's going to be the end of the week is going to all be about home builders and the housing market. Friday, we're going to get existing home sales, which I think is going to come in obviously pretty lackluster. Transaction volume is pretty much non-existent. There's not a lot of deals getting done. And we're also going to get housing starts. Guys, look at how beautiful the World Trade Center looks tonight. fantastic. You have the Millennium Hotel to your left, and then this beautiful Oculus here. There's a lot of people in Lower Manhattan tonight. Probably because of the Juneteenth holiday, everybody's off. But look at how massive the Oculus looks. And that glass dome all the way in the distance, that's Brookfield Place. Whew. Well, we've definitely worked up a sweat tonight. Maybe I'll take you guys inside the Oculus just so we can get in the air conditioning. It's actually not too hot out right now, but tomorrow is going to be a scorcher. We are officially going to enter the Oculus. Westfield, the shops at the Oculus. What do you guys think? IERAJ, this is any business/investment books you're reading currently that you recommend. Yeah, actually, there's this really good book I just finished. It's called How to Make a Few Billion Dollars. Now, the title is just like a catchy, clickbaity headline, but it is a very, very good book, especially if you're interested in private equity. Now, the author of the book is Brad Jacobs. He was a big pioneer on Wall Street in a lot of the logistics companies, bringing them public. So if that's the kind of like business you're interested in, acquiring a company, like leverage buyout, improving operations, increasing shareholder value, you're really gonna like that book. How to Make a Few Billion Dollars by Brad Jacobs. Interesting book. But if you want my entire Walks in Wall Street 2014 summer reading list, just type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. It was about 2 articles ago I gave you my entire summer reading list, all the books that I'd recommend, and feel free to recommend any books to me. All right, let's explore the Oculus a little bit. I don't think I've ever taken you guys inside before. Wow, that's a good recommendation. Thank you for that. The Shields. Tom, have you ever read What I Learned Losing $1 Million by Jim Paul? I have not, but I will get the book. Thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate you very much. But in terms of just the investment business in general, stocks, I think the classics are Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. That's one of the best ones ever. So Common Stocks, Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. Then How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill. Then I would say One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch, who is the former mutual fund manager at Fidelity's Magellan Fund. And then, of course, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, that was based on the life of Jesse Livermore. Now, if you're a value investor, if you're really, really into value investing, I would check out Margin of Safety by Seth Klarman. Now, there was only 5,000 copies of the book ever printed, so you probably can't get a physical copy, but you can get many PDFs online. So I would go ahead and download that PDF if you're interested in value investing. Now, Seth Klarman is the CEO and founder of the Baupost Group. They're based in Boston. Extremely, extremely successful. But yeah, you know, speaking of our Substack, tomorrow is Thursday, and every other Thursday, right as the market closes, we send out all of our equity research for free to the members of the Walks on Wall Street chat here. So if you want to subscribe to our Substack, it's free. We don't charge for anything. Type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and you can subscribe to our Substack. That's also another announcement I wanted to make really quickly, by the way. It has come to my attention, a few people have sent me emails or direct messages on Twitter with screenshots of messages that are coming from me, but they're not coming from me. There are these fraudulent accounts on Instagram and Twitter that it will message people requesting payment for financial advice in Bitcoin. So if anybody messages you that's claiming to be me and saying that I'll trade money for you or invest money for you, it is a scam. Do not give them any money. Everything that I publish is free. I don't charge for anything, and I never will. So yeah, don't give anybody money on the internet. And with that being said, everybody, I think we're gonna call it, because I think this was a good stream. And I'm gonna get something to drink and go home. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. I trust you had a wonderful day. And I'll meet you guys right back here live from New York City tomorrow at 8:45. So if you enjoyed the stream, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and watch out for that email tomorrow around 6 o'clock. So Catherine, thank you so much. Dario, I appreciate you. AMC, just happy Juneteenth indeed. Thank you, sir. Tatted T, appreciate it. Mary, RC, JK, NAV407, KT, Dario, Mimi, MG, Judy, Shannon, TK Porsche, Mary, John Abraham, Madison 32, all of our moderators, Everything in Miami, Joe Driver, Faith. Always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Take care, everybody.